Hello, and welcome back to Serendipity Intended. And Happy New Year. It is January 2026 and time for Junk Journal January. Now, I have a confession to make, and that is that I kind of did the first page and didn't think about filming it. So my first day one prompt I've already created. So I thought what I would do instead is talk a little bit about the challenge and also kind of my approach to my daily journal and how that sort of fits in with the Junk Journal January Challenge. So I am once again doing the Junk Journal January Challenge that is hosted by Creativity and Coffee. And I printed out the prompt, probably a little smaller than I needed to, but and you probably can't read it. I will try and remember to link to the video where she has the prompt on her page so that you can access it for yourself. But the prompt is here, and day one is creative reset. And before I jump into this year's journal, which is here, I wanted to talk a little bit about this journal from August 2013 to December 2014. I love this journal, and very similar in size, but I was flipping through this in December, and I realized that I had kind of gotten away from the style of journaling that I did in this journal, and I really wanted to get back to that and focus a little more, at least in my day-to-day journal, on the way that I journaled then, and a little less on collage and some of the techniques that I've moved towards in my junk journaling. So I wanted to show you a little bit about what I meant by that. So this journal is actually a planner. I wish that it was produced by Orange Circle Studio. They do not make these planners anymore. It was a very sad day for me when they stopped. What I liked about these was that they came pre-printed with some pages, so I kind of give you an idea, where there was something on the page, right? Besides the days, there was some sort of graphic or text, and the page wasn't stark white. So it sort of felt like a starting point. And also the page demarcations were so light that if I wanted to ignore it, I kind of could. And I could just kind of go over top of it, and it would sort of fade into the background. So a couple of things that I used to do in this journal that I want to go back to. I've marked a few pages. So first I wanted to talk a little bit about the monthly pages. This journal that I'm using is a Hobonichi. It does have monthly and weekly pages, or monthly and daily pages. But I used to do like an image per day. And then if I missed days, I would fill in what I missed either with a magazine image that I liked or just some other drawing, but just kind of a way to just in a quick snapshot keep track of what happened on those days. And this is a fairly sparse day, but then there were other months where I really did a great job and did something for just about every single day. But I just think visually these are so much fun to go back and look at. And really, for the most part, it's just a pen to do the outline and the writing and colored pencils. And on this page, I think I added a sticker here and a sticker here, little piece of ephemera, and some washi. And that was pretty much it. But I definitely want to get back to doing this kind of thing each day. I also want to get back to the idea of using some sort of visual way of breaking up the page to create what it is that I'm doing. So here I just drew a spiral sort of circle within a circle within a circle, and I added some quotes here, and there was a paper airplane on the page already, so I did like a little dotted line to sort of represent its path all the way across the page. And then I also drew this little bird, and I had hole punched here, I think from the previous page, and so I continued the bird this way, and then also made it part of the image over here, so that they kind of went one to the other. So just, again, minimal tools, just pen, and this might have been ink, but basically pen to write with and colored pencil, right? Nothing else. And then here's another example of a way that I still journaled each day, but I broke up the page and used an image and did some different things. So again, did the journaling, but also made it visually more interesting. And then this one, I was a little bit more consistent with the page breakups that were there, but I kind of did this sort of line through and kind of colored in a bit. And again, just made it a little bit more interesting. And then here I had a cutout so that I could include a picture of my oldest on his 18th, or during his 18th birthday. And yeah, just kind of went from there. So this is what I sort of wanted to get back to. And I thought, given that the prompt that Creativity and Coffee had for Creative Reset made a lot of sense. So I set out in my journal, I was working yesterday just to kind of get it set up for the new year. And so I have little bits and pieces in here. Like I have my word for the year, but I haven't done anything else with it, just put the word in. A couple of pages that I'm planning for. But then you can see here for January, I did a header and then did just a little image for the first day we made potato soup. So I went ahead and put that in. And I'm going to try and do this each day, just denoting something that happened, whether it's big or small. So along those lines, I sat down and I decided to do a heading page for each month. And this is the page that I created for January. It is collage as opposed to the drawing, but it's fairly minimal collage and literally just collage. I did this super, super quickly. But then on this side, started to kind of go back to that idea of creating something that was visual and interesting to look at, and yeah, just a little bit more in that way that I used to do things. So a little bit of a creative refresh, obviously informed by all of the journaling that I've done since 2014, which was, wow, like 11, 12 years ago. So that's kind of what I have in mind. And this really technically is my response to Creative Reset. With that said, I do need to, because I'm going to use this journal, I think, to respond to these prompts. And so I wanted to keep that in here. So I'm going to go back to this previous page, and I'm going to use this page as my place to keep track of my journal prompts. And that way I've got it, it's nice and handy, and I can refer back to it. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but I am going to stick this paper underneath just to kind of protect what I have. And actually, let me go ahead, and the nice thing about these journal covers is that you can take your journal out and ignore the cover. And that's what I'm going to do here. Get my wax paper back here, and then just to make this a little bit easier to deal with. I am, just so that this lays flat, I'm going to do that. Okay, so these are the colors that I'm working with. And again, I want to keep this fairly minimal. So I did grab some archival ink that I'm going to use, a stamp that I just happened to have on my desk, and a dauber to go with that, and then some scraps that I had left over from Defemorember that I just finished. So they were in my scrap pile over here. So I just grabbed a few things that I thought color-wise would work, and I'm gonna go from there. Okay, so I do want to change this page a bit, and so I decided I could use this page to do that. I think I'm gonna go with this side, and I also, let me grab a pencil here. I'm not terribly bothered about this fitting exactly on the page. So I'm just gonna cut it so that it is a little bit narrower than the page, and definitely just a teeny bit shorter. And I'm not even gonna cut this off. I'm just gonna tear. All right, and then grab them because I am gonna do some gluing here. I really want this at the top, but I don't want this on the outside. You know what? This I think is a little bit more interesting visually. Maybe we will. No. I'll go this way. All right, so I'm just gonna grab my glue stick and really quickly put some glue all the way around the edges, especially so that it stays stuck down. What are your plans for Junk Journal January? Are you planning to tackle it every single day, or are you thinking that you're going to be a little bit more casual about how you work on the prompts? I'm hoping that I can be consistent, but I'm also trying to not put too much pressure on myself that I necessarily have to do every single day. I am hoping, since I'm limiting myself to this format, that I will not be able, or be able to not get totally overwhelmed. Okay, so looking through my washi, because I didn't quite do this evenly, so I think I do want to use just a little bit of washi here to mask a little bit of my mistake. And so the nice thing about the Hobonichi is it has a really light grid on it, so I'm able to line things up along the grid, which is a help. And I am going to trim off that little bit just just for grins and giggles. I don't know what I'm going to do on this side, and I'm really okay with that. Let's go ahead and put the binder clip back on to help keep this flat. Okay, so with this background down, I was originally thinking that I would use this to create some interest. Now I'm not so sure, just because I have already got some words here. So I think I might wait on the stamp. But I do want to add some of this green, and I have to decide where I'm going to put. So maybe actually just like this. I'm going to use the back side because this is Christmas paper. So yeah, and I think I'm gonna just put the glue directly on the page. And I'm gonna do that because when I put this down, I'm gonna sort of loosely line it with the edges, but then I'm going to sort of squunch it a bit so that it is not completely flat. So I get a little bit of texture with that, just to create a teeny bit of interest. And yeah, I like that. Okay, that works. Now I had pulled this piece here, and I think I'll maybe add that, yeah, right along there. So again, just put some glue and yeah, that works for me. Now I think I can use this ink pad to add a little bit of interest here. So I'm going to go ahead and ink it. And I'm actually going to put it upside down. And I'm going to let it go off the page a little bit. So it's subtle, and I'm okay with that. A little bit more down there. And just because, I'm going to stick a little bit there. Put something on this page for later. Now before I put this away, I do want this to pop a little bit. So I'm actually going to use the black ink to ink the edges. Okay. Then I can glue that down like so. And since this is all paper, I think I am just gonna continue to use my glue stick to adhere everything down. And I'm gonna do this a little bit off and down, just to change things up a bit. So I just want to add one more little bit of something up here. I got this as a gift for Christmas this year, and I thought it would be nice to use something from here. And I think actually, maybe the darker one or the lighter one? I think the darker one. I was trying to decide between, actually, let me just pull them both off and decide which one I like better. I think this one works better on this spread. What I'm going to do is add the other one over here to that side, kind of put the two together, and then I am going to use that same jet black ink on the sticker, and then just put that down like so. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is grab my, well, if I can find it, I'm going to grab my micron. I don't know where it is. I'll just use my Pilot Juice to add a little bit of mark making to this page. So I'm going to go around the edges of my prompt list just to make it stand out a bit. And then I'm going to do it again, but much more loosely. This is another technique I used to do a lot of and I've kind of gotten away from. So intentionally being just a little bit messy and being okay with that. All right, so here we go. I've got my prompt list for Junk Journal January, and maybe I can use this side of the page to journal a little bit about my goals for junk journaling in January and beyond. But there is my page, so my prompt list, and also my first page with my creative reset. And yeah, so that is it. I hope that you had a good time watching, and I hope that you are already having fun with Junk Journal January. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, make a great day.